And OpenStack hosting was a clear indication to that. And there were a couple of things in OpenStack hosting that for me was a clear litmus test, if you like, that things have changed. I wanted to start with Koby Holzer. Where's Koby? There he is. So Mark and Koby were on stage. You can see the picture. So Mark was kind enough to do that. And clearly we had a poster child that is, I think, one of the largest OpenStack deployments coming from here. That's a great thing. And you can see some of the numbers here. Actually, you measured that compared to Walmart, right, Koby? It wasn't that different. 75% you said, I think, in one of the posts. So we got some sizable and nice poster child to start with. Also, this is the first time I'm actually introducing what we're doing, but this is the second time in which Cloudify, the project that we're owning, was also mentioned by Mark. So again, thank you, Mark, for doing that. And for the second year, it was actually mentioned and actually growing. But interestingly enough, if we're just talking about the survey, which I really recommend everyone to read, it's really, really useful information if you want to plan your strategy towards OpenStack. And to fill in, yes. That there's other things to note about it. One of them is that Kubernetes is becoming, and I know that a lot of people are asking, containers and OpenStack, do you really need the two? I think this is a clear indication, if you look at the trends between 2015 and 16, that Kubernetes becomes the best choice for OpenStack users who want to run containers. But it also shows, if you look at the trend between, for example, Cloud Foundry and Kubernetes, that this is a continuously changing world. So before that, we had Cloud Foundry at the top. Now Cloud Foundry loses 30%, Kubernetes gain 30%. And interestingly enough, Docker Swarm was pretty high on that list, and now it's almost gone. So that shows you the dynamics of that world and how fast things change. And that's going to bring me to one of the interesting points that is not related to the talk, but something to think about. The only constant is change. So whenever we plan on something, whenever we look to the future, we have to remember the dynamics and plan for that constant change, and that's personally my personal belief here. Another Israeli company that I think was marked the record here is Mellanox. Where's Mellanox? Raise their hand. So I think definitely the largest contributor to OpenStack, and you can see both by the number of people and the number of projects that they're involved. This is from Stacklytics, so it's pretty fresh. That they've been pretty heavily invested in OpenStack, and a publicly traded company investing in OpenStack. It's a good indication that there is a business case here. It's not just a research project, and this is definitely a very strong and clear indication, and I think Mellanox did a very good job to brand themselves as everything performance. So everything performance in OpenStack equal Mellanox, so that's not a bad place to be in. Other startups, and I know that I've been talking about the lack of startups in OpenStack, and I still complain about that because I do want to see more startups joining OpenStack, definitely from this nation, being the nation. But we've seen last year Context Stream that are here. Context Stream? Yes. And we have Ravello. Is there any people from Ravello here? Good. So we have at least one person. And Stratoscale? Good. So we got some energy here in the room. That's good. Interestingly enough, something happened this year. So Context Stream is now HP, and Ravello is now Oracle. Which for some of the startups mentality that are looking for exit, I think that indicates something. So it does mean that there is some exit opportunity also for some of the entrepreneurs that are less patient. AT&T, yeah. Okay, and this is to blame, by the way, Loren and the guys there that put it on Passover and made my wife and kids unhappy, and so others. Usually we get much more people from Israel joining the summit. Still, there was a lot of Israelis and Jewish people coming to the summit itself, but I was promised that they did put some kosher food, so I think I'll give them the grace of that. And they promised that not the next one, but the one afterwards wouldn't fall on a Jewish holiday. So hopefully something will change there. Anyway, this is a promise, by the way, Lorraine, Mark, and Jonathan. So I put my words on that, but I'm sure your words will come for that as well. Anyway, AT&T was the super user of the year. Definitely for me, the kind of the star of the OpenStack Austin event. And the reason why I brought that in, and you could see the number of people from AT&T here in the room, that there is a lot of innovation happening outside, but also in Israel by those global companies. And there is a lot of innovation happening in AT&T in two fronts. One of them, it's one of the countries in which AT&T invested in Innovation Lab. This is basically managed by Amdocs. Not too many people know about it, but there is a big R&D center. And the R&D center is actually developing core stuff, both on the high availability and the clustering and eComp, which is a new innovation project. But from what I just learned from the people in the room here, there's quite a amount of activities happening in Israel for AT&T. The other project that was done by the Innovation Lab is the Flow. It's basically an IoT thing that was developed in the Innovation Lab in Ra'anana. Okay. Out of time. One other thing that I wanted to indicate is that we all had the struggle of starting up with OpenStack and getting it up and running, and definitely in Israel, where we have a lot of definitely the sector. The public sector needed to have a local presence, and without that, we couldn't really get OpenStack into that sector. The fact that Bezeq is now, Bezeq Benleumi, is actually introducing OpenStack through the partnership with Rackspace, and I know that IBM is doing similar things, and HP is doing similar partnership, and Cisco, get us to one of the hardest hurdles of getting started with OpenStack and getting OpenStack adopted in the IT industry within Israel itself. And for me, this is a huge milestone. And even for ourselves, we're going to use the first choice there. Other investment, and you're going to hear that throughout the days, and Jonathan is going to come in and introduce you to some of them. There's a lot of other investment by more global companies that I wanted to touch on. I'm not going to touch too much on that because we have separate sessions on each one of them, so you'll hear more about it. I want to also mention some of the things that we wouldn't hear today about Intel and Huawei and Nokia. Gal is actually here. Where's Gal? Yeah, from Togal. It's kind of the... so they're doing some interesting stuff there. Do talk to him. So is Nokia. I actually submitted a project that was accepted to the OpenTent, and there is another Vitrage. Yes, the project name Vitrage. Check it out. So I think, again, there is more innovation happening in that front as well. So if I try to summarize that, why OpenStack innovation in Israel and why now? I would put it in 2 points. One of them, OpenStack does provide a very interesting ecosystem for innovation, both on networking, definitely in the NAV space, but also in storage and IoT. So if you're a startup or if you're a company or big company that are looking to sell products, in most cases in those areas, I wouldn't be selling it to Amazon or to any other companies because it's not open source and you can't really develop a plugin for that. You have to wait for Amazon to adopt it. So there's no way to even introduce that. And with OpenStack, you can. So it does provide a lot of, an excellent platform for innovation to deliver that. And the selling to customers that are already using OpenStack, because it's widely distributed, is much easier than any other alternative. The other thing, it's a marketplace. If you target people that are using OpenStack, you're definitely going to find a lot of vendors, a lot of partners, a lot of ecosystem. Anyone who's been in any of the summits have seen, and that's kind of the thing that brings me to those summits, is that it's a mixture of people, from investors to entrepreneurs to developers to business guys. This is a great marketplace. People from the networking side to the application side, all of them in one place. That's a very, very unique place to be in. You could get a lot of ideas just by coming to the event itself, not just by the talk itself. So I think if you look at this room, at the trends of that 7th event, this is definitely a time that I would say, go, look for your project, and innovate on it. This is the right time for that. So by all means, do that. And I wanted to point to some of the keynotes for today, and I think Jonathan, everyone knows Jonathan, and I don't need to introduce, but for me, the jewel of the crown, if you would like, for this event, is the thing without the face. Everyone knows what it means? Okay, so the thing is the interface, the green one, actually. This is the Israeli intelligence. So one thing that I was asked for everyone here is that whatever is being said here needs to stay here. Unless, so if that doesn't happen, this is mostly for, where is Jonathan? This is mostly for you. You're not going to get out from here. So if you want a ticket out and go through security and whatever, you need to be well behaved here. Yeah, let's not scare our guest, Sharon is saying. So, but it's true, try me. Well, you're welcome to try it out. Anyway, this is definitely the jewel in the crown for this event because I think it does indicate how an organization that is relatively conservative throughout a lot of years is now embracing the most innovative technologies, open source and so forth. This is unheard of, at least in Israeli terms, and that's quite interesting. Obviously, we're going to get Tim Bell, Jess. Where is Jess? Is Jess here? You woke up from yesterday? Jesse, sorry. Okay, still stuck in traffic. Somewhere. And Frank from Rackspace is here. Okay, so we'll see them throughout the day. And with that, I'm going to end with a word of thank you for all the people who actually made that happen. I wanted to start with Abner. Where's Abner? Who actually made it happen for long years and been around. Jeremy, where is Jeremy? And we got, where is Florian? I haven't seen him. Oh, there he is. So Florian, I guess from Austria. Koby Holzer, of course, Gal. Where is Arthur? So thank you. And